Hey guys, it's Misti Burmeister here. I want to talk to you about why it is so important to allow progress to get in the way of perfection. It was not even 15 years ago that I sat in my apartment and literally thought to myself, I could die in this apartment and nobody would know until maybe a couple of months after the last rent payment didn't come in. That was my reality at the time. I had just quit a job in a city where I didn't know anyone. I didn't have a lot of family support. I was pretty alone and I was scared out of my mind. I didn't know what to do. And I looked up and saw the yellow pages and got inspired and thought, well, if I could just meet enough people, then I can figure out what to do. And I didn't know any rules around this. I didn't know what perfect looked like. I just knew that I had to do something. So I started interviewing these people, and one thing led to the next. And about 6 months later, I had interviewed about 150 people, and I had learned two critical things. One, I could take care of myself. Barely, but I had massage therapy and fitness training as two kind of backup skills that I had gained along the way. I cobbled up enough clients to quickly get the bills paid. And two, I realized that there was a huge need for people who were younger and people who were more seasoned to understand how to communicate with each other. There was a gap in communication, and that gap was the reason why I was in this position that I was in at the time anyway. So I knew I needed to go out and help and make a difference in that area, but I didn't know how. I didn't know how to start a business. I didn't know how to write a contract or a proposal or any of those things. And so I just Googled it. I looked it up. I imitated what some other folks were doing, and I sort of did the best I could with what I had, and each step of the way I just kept getting opportunity after opportunity after opportunity. It was amazing. And I would say about 7 years into the process, so maybe 7 years ago, I came across this brick wall where the economy kind of shifted on us, and I didn't know what I wanted to do next. I didn't know how to communicate what I had to offer anymore, and I thought I knew what I should sound like. I thought I should know how to communicate my value, and I didn't. I didn't know how to anymore. I just didn't know how to do it in the current landscape of business at the time. I was lost all over again. I was in that pit of despair all over again, just sort of terrified. I stopped going out to networking events because I didn't know how to answer that question, what do you do? I didn't know how to answer that effectively. Heck, I still think I'm learning how to do that again and again and again. But I didn't know, and I was scared because I had this idea of perfect. I had X amount of successes, and I thought, therefore, I should know what it is I'm doing with my life, or that I know what I'm doing with my career, and I just didn't. So I was scared, and I let that fear of imperfection stop me for 4 or 5 years. I just kind of stayed in a little bubble of a fear of isolation, of loneliness. And then this one little thing happened, somebody that changed my life. An email came in that changed my life, and I'll keep it for you real brief. The email simply said, would you eat at this restaurant? Now, I have a tremendous passion for the food industry. I love to learn about, where does food come from, and like to learn about, good quality farmers who care a lot about how they raise their animals, their foods. I love reading or watching documentaries, reading books. It's just books. That's just something I've just done naturally for years now. And so when I saw this email, I was like, and I click through and I see it says on their website, clear as day, locally grown, grass-fed beef is what they serve. And I thought, of course I would. And in a moment, I was about ready to click off that email and just get on with being busy, because that's what I was doing back then. I was being busy, not even really knowing what I was being busy about. I clicked on that email though, and in that moment I saw, there was a local farm that I didn't know anything about, and I couldn't help myself. I suppose I could have stopped it, which is what I had been doing for 5 years. But I didn't. I allowed my curiosity to sort of take over me. And I make a long story short, I wound up going out to the farm and learning about cow density and the most appropriate thickness or whatever of cow density, cow dung density, however you want to call this, poop, and the impact on the environment and things of this nature. And I also got a chance to meet some really great farmers, and learned about crab picking. I learned about oyster farms. It was like 6 months worth of just diving into this area of just curiosity. And the most interesting thing happened in the process of learning about the environment, of learning mostly about the environment and also about the impact of these foods on our bodies. The most interesting thing happened about almost exactly to the day, 6 months in. I got a call from an environmental agency asking me, Misty, can you please come help us with our engagement challenges that we're having? They're standing around the water cooler talking about, how they might lose their job, and can you come help us to get them re-engaged? I hadn't done anything in the way of promoting myself, of trying to get opportunity. All I did was follow my curiosity. And as a result of letting my natural curiosity come to surface, great opportunities came into my business. So I want to challenge you to think today and right now, what small little opportunities, like a little email that says, go check this out, can you begin to follow instead of just push it to the side? Because it's when we allow progress, especially in the area of our curiosity, progress to get in the way of perfection, then all of a sudden, amazing, not all of a sudden, but slowly over time, incredible opportunities start to open up, and these small ones start to make sense. But they won't make sense until you take the risk to get out there and make great things happen in your career by saying yes to opportunities that pop up, and then saying yes again and again and again, and allowing yourself to feel the good feeling that comes out of us when we start to do the things that are naturally intriguing to us, that we care about, that matter to us. That's when our natural enthusiasm comes in, and people can't help but buy enthusiasm. They can't help but want to work with people who have a great positive attitude. And so that for me has been one of the greatest pushers for me in my life, and in enjoying the journey. So I challenge you to let the progress in your life, especially in the area of your natural curiosities, get in the way of any sort of idea of what perfection should look like. Here's to your greatness.